The Middle East is the only region of the world that actually does not have any kind of region-wide mechanism for dealing with problems internally. There is no equivalent to Organization of African Union, Organization of American States, ASEAN, NATO, EU. In other words, the only region in which the countries of the region in their totality don't sit around the same table. And some of the bigger ones like Iran and Saudi Arabia actually don't even have diplomatic relations at this point in time, or Iran and Israel are at loggerheads. Second, the most important issue in this region for some time has been Iran. It's the issue that really irks Israel. It's the issue that irks Saudi Arabia and UAE. We forget that the entirety of our relationship with the Persian Gulf monarchies is built around the idea of containing Iran. So there is no such thing as leaving the Middle East without dealing with Iran. It began to become more dangerous regionally, attacking tankers. They attacked oil installations. They did not fold in Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen, as everybody had hoped. And that escalation ultimately got them into a conflict with the US when the US assassinated Iran's top regional military commander, General Soleimani, almost a year ago. The Iranians retaliated with hitting an airbase in Iraq that housed American personnel with over 100 missiles. Single largest missile attack US forces ever suffered in their history, going as far back as you want. And there was a 48-hour time period where the two countries were very, very close to war. President Biden, he says he wants to go back to the nuclear deal, but he dilly-dallies and he doesn't take this on right away. And the Iranians decide that actually the way to get the United States back to the table is for them to become more aggressive. Iran's supreme leader said, we're going to go to 60% enrichment. We're going to go to 90% enrichment. And, we're going to get really, really close to a bomb. And that's at that point that the US gets together with Iran. So right now we're at a moment where Iran remains the only issue in the Middle East in a way. I mean, the United States, if it gets a deal with Iran, it can diffuse tensions in the Middle East sufficiently to actually focus on a war on Ukraine or to focus on China. Or if it doesn't get a deal in the Middle East, the Iranians are not going to tolerate being choked economically to death. They're going to start screaming and scratching and causing trouble on the nuclear front and then also on the regional front. So right now we're sort of in the eye of the storm. We're actually things look calm. If the storm doesn't pass, we're going to get into the thick of it. And the Iranians, how are they going to put pressure on the United States in the region to get it back to the table? They're going to use their proxies to do so. What I have is that we're near war in Ukraine. We are in an escalatory situation with China. And then we may end up in a much greater conflict in the Middle East. And that's going to tax, if you would, the capacity of this administration to deal with it. So my argument has been that if the United States doesn't want to see the worst in the Middle East, it has to find to get a deal with Iran. That's not going to solve our overall long-term Iran problem, but it's going to reduce the temperature sufficiently for the US to be able to manage some other very urgent things that are on the table as well.